Good day, everyone. Our speaker that we're waiting for is here with us now. So we'll kick off immediately. Sorry for the delay by 6 minutes. So once again, good day, everyone. My name is Omotaya Bayomi. Uh, I'll, I'll be a moderator today, and I'm a final year student of Federal University of Technology, Mina, from the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. Without further ado, we would have the first remark, the opening remark by the lead of Ignite Research Academy, Mohammed. Mohammed, the floor is all yours.
Hello everyone, I'm Ali Muhammad, the lead Ignite Research Academy. I welcome us all to this insightful session tagged What Happens After Your Bachelor's Degree. In today's session, our amazing speakers would guide us in making appropriate decisions after completing our undergraduate studies. Do well to grab your pen and your notepad as a lot of knowledge will be shared today. Once again, I welcome us all.
Thank you so much for that, Mohammed. Moving on, we would briefly introduce us to our panelists. We have one of our panelists as Joel Aboderi. He's a mechanical engineer who received the West African Portland Cement PLC Prize for the Best Mechanical Engineering Student at OAU in 2018. During the pandemic, his project management team at GIL Automation was the best in the third quarter of last year. And he is currently an Erasmus Mundus Scholar in renewable energy integration. We also have with us Jibril Bala. He's an assistant lecturer with the Department of Mechatronics Engineering, Federal University of Technology, Mina. He obtained his bachelor's degree in computer engineering from Federal University of Technology, Mina. And he's currently pursuing his PhD in electrical and electronics engineering. We also have with us Abdullah Oladipo, a graduate of electrical and electronics engineering from OAU. After post-graduation, he freelanced for about a year before he joined his first software company. So from our panelists that I've introduced to us, we can see that they are basically in every sphere that would every one of us will want to major into. We have an entrepreneur with us, we have an industrialist with us, and we also have an academia with us. Basically, after school, every one of us is going to want to major in one of these fields, and we have done the best of our ability, in the best of our capacity, to provide someone in each of these fields that would encourage us, that would teach us, that will provide answers to questions that we would have in the future. Uh, so please, participants, let's do well to check the chat box regularly because we'll be dropping the links to our social media handles at various intervals. Okay, so now we'll be having the roundtable discussion with our panelists. Let's do well to get our pen and notepad as a wealth of knowledge will be shared today. There has always been a saying that experience is a great teacher, but you don't necessarily have to learn from your own experience because that wastes a lot of time. You can learn from the experience of our panelists today. So let's ensure that we have good internet connection as you do not want to miss out on anything. And also ensure that you mute yourself so that you do not interrupt the session. Please, our panelists, are you with us? Our panelists, please, you can unmute yourself and you can just introduce yourself briefly.
Hi, Adizo.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, how you doing? My name is Tola
Fine, thank
Alabi,
you.
and I'm privileged to be a panelist in today's session. I am an entrepreneur. I run a branding company called Tola Labi Consulting, where we work with startups to help position them better in the minds of their clients. I started out as a graphic designer and I moved on to doing identity design. But now I work mainly in the field of branding and brand experience.
Welcome, sir. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Please, our other
Thanks for
panelists, you can
having me.
unmute and introduce yourself as well.
Hi everyone, this is Abdullah
Morning.
Ladepa.
Welcome,
I'm
sir.
a software developer. I work currently with Ento in the United States. I'm in Nigeria, so I work remotely with them. I'm happy to be here today, and I hope I can share one or two things while learning from everyone here too.
Thank you very much, sir. Can we have Engineer Jibril?
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jibril Bala. I'm a lecturer with the Department of Mechatronics Engineering, Federal University of Technology, Mina. My major interests are intelligent control systems, autonomous vehicles, and precision agriculture. And I'm very happy to be part of you today and be a member of the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. So can we have Mr. Joel introduce himself?
Hello. Good morning, everybody. I hope your night was great. So my name is Joel. I'm a researcher. I love energy, and I'm also passionate about Africa, changing the narrative in Africa. I'm currently doing my master's in Budapest, and I'll be moving to France next year, in about 3 countries. And I'm glad to be here. I hope I'll be able to share a little and also learn from the other panelists. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So you can see that even one of our panelists is willing to still learn from other panelists. It means that knowledge is never exhausted. So as we go into the session of questions, please let's do well to note everything that we feel is relevant. We can also note our questions so that when it's time for us to ask questions, we would be able to ask our questions. So the first question we have for our panelists, which I would like every one of them to just give their take on it. Can you briefly tell us about your journey after your bachelor's degree? So please let's start with Mr. Joel Abodere.
All right, thank you so much. So after I finished my bachelor's in 2018, yeah, I graduated in 2018, and immediately I went for my youth service in Ogun State. I served in Polytechnic Ilaru, where I taught some students, and from there on, I worked at Gill Automations during the pandemic, yeah, from February till around August. And then from then on, I started a postgraduate fellowship at the Nigerian University of Technology and Management. Yeah, which I'm going to be graduating September 18. However, I've also started my master's here. I'm currently in Budapest. Yeah. Yeah, thank you.
For that, it's really brief. Maybe I should say briefly tell us about your journey. So can we have Engineer Jibril also tell us about his journey after his bachelor's degree? How has it been for you since you completed your bachelor's degree?
Thank you very much. Once again, good morning, everyone. I'm Engineer Jibril Bala, currently a member of the Department of Mechatronics Engineering, FUT Mina. I graduated from FUT Mina with a degree in computer engineering in 2015. And like most of us would agree with me, graduating from a university in Nigeria could be quite challenging, primarily because a lot of us graduate from the university and we do not have any direction on what we want to do or where we want to go next. So it wasn't different in my case. I graduated with a degree in computer engineering, but I had no idea what I wanted to do. I had a lot of skills at the time, but nothing interested me more because I really didn't know where I was headed. So I proceeded for the mandatory youth service, NYSC, for a year. During the course of my NYSC, I was looking for jobs and also applying to various scholarships without having a clear sense of direction of what I wanted to do. At that time, it was just for me, whatever clicks. But luckily, I had very good mentors, about three of them, who are also in FUT. There's Professor Ibinu, Dr. Folorunsho, and Dr. Olani. And through my interactions with them and their mentorship, I later on had a clear direction of what I wanted to do. And it lined perfectly with the skills I had. So I decided to focus more of my energy on pursuing a master's degree. I applied for a lot of scholarships. A lot of them were unsuccessful. But however, I was fortunate to be awarded a scholarship under PTDF, the Petroleum Technology Development Fund, to study advanced control systems in the University of Salford, Manchester, United Kingdom. And it was when I got there that I actually had a clearer sense of direction and I knew exactly what I wanted to do. That was go into control systems. Another challenge after my bachelor's degree was, here in Nigeria, we learn a lot of courses during our programs. And all those courses are important. However, when we are in school or immediately we graduate, you do not know the importance of the courses you have learned. Because most of what we do is a class-based learning, a little bit of practicals in the laboratories, but it's very hard for you to translate the knowledge you've had in the classroom into practical experience when you go out there, where you go into the industry. So one of the major challenges I had when I was in the UK was I'll be given tasks which I would be expected to do without supervision. And I had the knowledge, but I was finding it difficult to transform that knowledge into practical, into reality. And that was where a lot of my experience and learning came into play, where I later on understood better the courses I took in the university. So that was majorly eye-opening for me, and it gave me a lot of insight. Currently, I'm pursuing a PhD in electrical engineering, and I hope to learn more as I go on. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So you see that Engineer Jibril told us I had a lot of skills but didn't know what to do. I think you would agree with me that people that have a lot of skills tend to be the ones that seem not to really know how they are going to go about it because they are multi-talented. They can actually do anything they want to do. So it's quite difficult to now pick what they would love to major in. But as he said, eventually he was able to find his place, he was able to find his footing and able to pursue what he really wanted to do. So as we go on, we'll see hear from him how he was able to streamline all of his talents and pick out. Sorry for the interruption. We would like to have Mr. Abdullah Oladipo give us his own experience, share his own experience with us of his journey after bachelor's degree.
Hi again, everyone. I graduated not long ago. I graduated actually 2020, 2019, but it got to early 2020. So I did electronic and electrical engineering in Obafemi Awolowo University, and when I was done, I got into software development actually. And one of the reasons why I got there was because I wanted to build. I was a data seller while I was in part 4 and 5. So I wanted to build something for myself, like a kind of website where I can sell data, be above the common market where people reach out to you on WhatsApp to get whatever they want to buy. So I got into software development then, learned PHP, built the site within 1, 2 months. So, but after a while, I needed money, so I had to like find a job to do. That was after graduation. I worked with a school as IT support. But I think after 1 or 2 weeks, that was when COVID hit. So we had to go online. So I was managing their online studies for their junior secondary school using Google Classroom and Zoom. After a while, I left there after a few months, around 3 or 4 months. Then I started freelancing, right? So because I've had a bit of skills, I can do a bit of PHP and I can do a bit of WordPress. So for people that know a little about software development. So I started freelancing then. My major freelancing was not on any platform. It was basically reaching out to my friends that have projects and doing it for them. So there was a friend of mine then that used to like get a lot of projects and just give me to do. So I was doing that for a while. Then I had passion for traveling. I still have. So whenever I make any money, I will like go and visit some place, in Nigeria, like just go about doing my job along the way, freelancing, I do everything online and just visiting places, spending all of my money there. So then after a while, when I was coming back, I started learning React and Node.js, if you have some idea of software development. And after I got back, I did other couple of jobs that are not very important to this meeting. So, but after then, I got a job early this year. That was my first professional job really. So in a company, and I joined the company as backend developer. I spent a month. Then after that month, I was promoted then to project lead developer. So I spent 6 months or so in total before I got another job where I currently work. So currently I work for Entry, as I mentioned, and I do backend development and cloud engineering for the company. So that's where I am now.
Thank you so much, sir. So I think some of the things I could pick up from what he said is he started out a freelancer and he has passion for traveling. I think that's one thing I don't have passion for. I hate movements. But another thing I think he said that would pique the curiosity of a lot of people here is that he spends all his money. So I think a lot of people want to make money and spend their money. So just do well to stay with us, stay connected to the end of this, and you hear how he has made his own money and how you can make yours also and travel to places and spend all your money. Thank you very much for that, sir. And then finally, we'll have Mr. Tola Alabi give us a brief about his experience, his journey after bachelor's degree.
Yeah, okay, so my journey after bachelor's degree is pretty far back, so I would need to think about it a little bit. But I graduated from Obafemi Awolowo University, just like my friend Mr. Abdul, and I studied architecture, and I graduated in the year 2002, and I remember graduating, and it was the most I don't know, I was happy and sad because I was happy because I was leaving school. I was sad because I was leaving school confused, more confused than I went in, less confident than I went in, less self-aware than I left in than I went in, and with much less weight on my body than I went in. So school was a traumatic experience for me. I tell my wife this every time. Whenever I think about school, it's like a nightmare. And school, up to that time, had always been a nightmare because I never did well in school. From primary school to secondary school, primary school was really bad because um, I was always like 32nd position out of like 36 people in the class. Secondary school was no better, but I was average. University was just terrible, was hell because it was a very oppressive environment where I was in an environment where lecturers did not really care about students, and it was evident that they didn't care. In fact, you could see that there was a lot of spite towards students. In my time, I don't know how it was when, by the time Abdul was there, but in my time, in my department, it was very spiteful. And it was almost like if lecturers didn't want you to do well. So a lot of people left school with a deflated esteem. You left school deflated. You left school feeling like if you had to go out to beg for a job, your esteem was not high. And that's how I left school when I left school in 2002. I was looking for myself. And I think one of the best things that happened to me was the fact that my name got skipped from NYSC. So I didn't go for national youth service with my mates. my name was omitted for some reason, and it's the best thing that has happened to me, because up until that time it was primary school, common entrance, straight to secondary school, JAM, WAEC, straight to university, and it was just, there was no time to think. This was the first time I had nothing. I had a whole year to think. And NYSC in my day then was not a time we didn't have batch A, batch B, batch C like people have now. If you missed the year. You have to wait till next year. So I had to think of, man, I have a whole year of doing nothing. What do I do with this year? At first I was sad, but then it made me think. And I started thinking, Tola, what do you like to do? Obviously, you don't like architecture. So what would you do? So I realized, I kind of set myself and went back into my youth, and I realized I love to draw. And I said, okay, what can I do that's closest to drawing right now? And I found graphic design. And I started going into that, finding out the softwares to use. And I spent that whole year building myself as a graphic designer. While my mates were posted to different parts of Nigeria, I wasn't distracted. I was focusing on myself. And it was the most enjoyable year I had for a very long time. And the next year I went for my NYSC, and I worked in a Ministry of Housing. And that was where it was confirmed to me that I didn't want to be a designer. I knew I didn't want to be an architect, because it was the most boring NYSC. I spent most of my NYSC trying to give excuses not to come to work. And when I came to work, I spent time doing graphic design. So I knew it was confirmed from my NYSC that I was not going to go back to graphic design, to architecture. I was going to do graphic design. So after my NYSC, I had the opportunity to meet with a school that came to Abuja then, to try to recruit people to go to Canada. And this was in the year 2005. And 2005, people were not rushing to go to Canada then. Canadians were begging us to come there. So they came, and I was like, Canada, I don't want to go to Canada. That place, nobody goes there. It's cold and stuff. But we were begging people. It was almost like handing out visas then. So I went there, and I remember my mom told me, this is your opportunity to go abroad and study this graphic design. You understand? And the school was relatively cheap then, because because they wanted people to come to Canada. So I went there, and I did my postgraduate in interactive multimedia. And for the first time in my life, I did well in school. For the first time in my life, it was a strange experience, but I was the top of my class. I was on President's Honor Roll twice, and I knew that this was what I wanted to do. And after I left Canada, when I finished from school in Canada, I worked for a bit, and I came back to Nigeria, because it was always my dream to set up my own company in Nigeria. And that's how I started my company. I started as a design company, then I evolved it into an identity design company, and now it's just generally a consulting company.
Thank you so much, sir. I think one of the few things I was able to pick was that the complaint we've been having about this Nigerian universities and how it has been so stressful is generic. It has been right from time. But hopefully, our generation can make it better. We can improve things and help the next generation to experience better education. So I'd like to go on to the next question. We'll start with Mr. Tola Labi this time around. Sir, if you are given the chance to go back in time, is there something you would have done differently after your graduation? Mr. Tola Labi, sir.
All right, so is there something I've done differently after my graduation from school?
Yes, sir.
Wow, I would only wish I could go back further in time, not to even go to OAU in the first place. Because after my graduation, there was a lot. I feel I don't have too many regrets after graduation, because I found myself, I found my passion, which a lot of people are not privileged to find. So if I could go back after my graduation, um, I think the only thing I would change is not feeling so bad about failing courses in school, and not feeling bad about what lecturers said, or what people thought, or comparing myself with people, you understand, that had better GPAs than I did. I think the only thing I would have told myself, if I can go back to 2002, just graduating from OAU, and I could talk to that taller that just graduated, I would have told him, I would tell him, guy, don't worry, everything will be okay. All these things you're looking at right now don't really matter in the scheme of things. 20 years later, when you're 40 years old, you would realize that a lot of these things which you kind of experienced in the university, a very small percentage of it mattered. What really mattered were the relationships you built. So, and to be honest with you, that's how I lived my life after I graduated. So I wouldn't change much, to be honest. I wouldn't change much after graduation, because after graduation has been the best years of my life so far.
Thank you so much for that, sir. I think a lot of us can learn from this not to put so much pressure on ourselves. There's already so much pressure in the environment, there's already so much pressure in Nigeria. So the best you can do is not to put more pressure on yourself by comparing yourself to others, by allowing what other people say to define how you see yourself or who you think you are, as our panelists has just told us. So, Mr. Abdullah Oladipo, please would like to hear from you as well. If you're given the chance to go back in time, is there something you would have done differently after your graduation?
Oh, yes. So, honestly, I can relate to a lot of things that Mr. Tola mentioned. So, and it's actually I'm very privileged to hear from someone like way back in 2002 to be sharing same experience like what we felt like a year or 2 years ago. So, like he said, currently I just graduated 2020. So, I can mention some things, but I would like to go back to before I actually got into university. So this might not be very useful to us in this meeting, but if we have younger ones or kids or so that wants to go to school, this might be something that we should like place much importance on. So and that's that we shouldn't pick a course for our kids, for our friends or for our younger ones. We shouldn't force them to go and study something in school. We should not just follow the convention of just go to university just like every other person is going. We should actually try and explore, even if they are going to university, what is that particular course that will fit their life, that will fit their skills. So we can call them down, explain things to them so that they can actually choose themselves from the variety of options that are at hand. So the reason why I'm mentioning that is someone might say he doesn't agree with Mr. Tola just because he mentioned that he did not always have good grade. So from my own perspective, I actually had good grade, right? I honestly graduated first class. So and in my final year, I just realized part two, part three has been a lot of roller coasters, just read, pass, and in my final year, I just realized, oh my god, this elect it doesn't just resonate with me, right? So I studied electronic and electrical engineering. So it's a very good course, probably one of the best courses in engineering, but just because something is good doesn't mean it's good for everyone. It might be good for some people, might not be good for other people. So I just realized in part five, like this thing, even though I had good grade, it's it's just not for me. Like I'm not enjoying it. I just feel like let me just graduate and just get away from this school. So that was when I decided to explore the options. I explored quite a lot of options before I realized, okay, I think software and stuff that has to do with computer go well with me. So that's one thing about making your decision. So helping people to make their decision, people around you. So try to explain to them the courses that are available to them. Don't just tell them to go and do medicine just because doctors have money, or just don't tell them to go and do software computer just because software developers earn a lot of money or they work outside country and all of that. So that's number one thing for sure. Then another thing that I can say after graduation is while in school, actually, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't just focus 100% on getting first class, and almost nothing else. So make sure you diversify, try to pick skills along the way. So it doesn't have to be like because there is a whole lot of people parading software now as if it's the only big thing. So even though it's good, it doesn't have to be software alone. Just look inward, look around you, try and see what other things can you learn along the way. Honestly, it's not bad if you have 2-1. People have 2-1 and they still go for postgraduate studies if they want to go. I believe Mr. Joel can speak more on that. So, but you don't have to have first class. It's good. It's good if you have, but don't just come out of university and just look back and even the part five exam that you did, you can't remember what you did in that part five again. So it's almost like you spent 5 years, just wasting it. So make sure you pick other skills along the way that can be useful for you after graduation. And that thing that I think is very important is to network very well. That's one thing that we don't. usually do, particularly if you are one of the top students, right? So you spend all your time reading, we call it jacking in AU. So you spend all your time jacking and try to get good grades. So it's always good to network. So when you graduate, you just realize your skills might be very good, but if you don't have very good network, if you don't have very good friends, people that can refer you and all of that, your skills might not be useful. More often than not, it comes second. You need someone to plug you in somewhere first, then your skills follow. So your skills will make you look attractive to the person. Oh, this guy is good and he's my friend. Let me put him in this company. Honestly, almost every single job I've done since I graduated, I've done like 6 or 7, either freelance projects or real job. I've never applied to any of them. So it has always been a friend looking at, oh, I think you can do this. I think you should do this. I think you'll be good if you join our company. And I join. So I think students should place more emphasis too on the networking. So there is this conference, there is this organization that is organizing a program that has something to do with your what you have interest and passion in. So I think a lot of students should join and make sure they create a very good network before they graduate so that it can be useful for them after graduation. I guess I can leave it at that for now.
Thank you very much, sir. You said it's called jacking in OAU. It's called jacking everywhere, sir. We still
Oh,
know
that's
the jack. Yes, sir. So I think if I'm to pick out something that is common from what the first speaker and what Mr. Abdullah has also said is that relationship is very important. It's very necessary to build relationship, to go out there, meet people, network, learn how to build interpersonal relationships. Some people are so into their books that they can't even communicate with the person next to them. So please, let's try to begin to work on that. And I'm sure we even have more clues on how to do that better as we continue this session. So please, we'd also like to hear from Engineer Jubilu Bala about his own experience. What would he like to change if he can go back in time?
Thank you very much. Uh, Before I answer the question, I want to personally thank Mr. Tola. I could relate with a lot of what he was saying. The post-graduation confusion, there are also some experiences in school that could just make you so miserable. And when he was talking, I felt like he was narrating my own experiences. But another thing I picked from what he said was passion. You need to have passion about what you're doing. And if you're passionate about any endeavor you're pursuing, it makes it much easier and you tend to excel in that area. Now, going back to the question, what I could change if I could go back in time. Personally, I don't think about that because I feel the experiences we go through make us the people we are today. However, if I could go back in school, I would have wanted to get a clearer sense of direction as to what I wanted to do after school. You know, when we're in school, we're always concerned, like Mr. Abdullah said, about getting good grades, about getting first class or 2-1. And I think most of us can relate with that. That was our major target when we were in school. We rarely thought about what we were going to do post school. So most of the skills I had, uh, I acquired when I was in school were as a result of some of the courses we took, some of the assignments we did. But if I could go back, I would have found a mentor, had discussions with him, done research, and have a clearer direction of what I wanted to do after school. And then I would work towards that by acquiring those skills while I'm in school so that that would help me outside school. And I think that's something that some of our listeners should look into, you know, having a clearer sense of direction, interacting with some of your mentors that you feel comfortable with to know what are your options after school, what would interest you, what are you passionate about, and then you start working towards that, acquiring those skills so that when you leave school, it will be much easier for you to fit into whatever area you want to go into. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. So as you said, please, it's very essential for us to have mentors. Mentors help us shorten our journeys in life. I think it was Albert Einstein that said that if he can stand on the shoulders of those that are gone ahead of him, he will get there faster. He wouldn't have to repeat such mistakes that he may have made, and then he'll have a clearer picture of what he's doing. So let's pick up on this and begin to pick out mentors that could help us in every sphere of life that we want to go into. Then finally, please let's have Mr. Joel Abodere also answer the question. If you were given the chance to go back in time, Sarah, is there something you would have done differently after graduation?
Thank you so much. I think I'd want to also thank Mr. Tola, just as Mr. Jibril and Mr. Abdullah mentioned earlier. I went to Ife to graduate with first class. If I'd gone back, what I would have changed, I would have worried less. Yeah, I would have worried less. I would have had more faith in the process. I would have trusted myself more. Even though I graduated for first class, I believe that I'll have had more faith in the process. I would have enrolled in a football team, maybe play games. I would have volunteered more. I would have maybe just walked up to my professor and just volunteered in this research lab or something. I would have welcomed failure and rejections. I know many people want to talk about their success stories and never mentioning their failure. We fear failure. While they are probably the base point for learning. So I would have tried new things. I would have reflected more to learn about myself, right? I would have known my strengths. I would have known my weaknesses and not necessarily try to outdo myself. I would know the best place I would have been. I would have made more friends. Um, Thankfully, I have a lot of my friends on this call. I would have just made more friendships. I would have laughed more, and I would have also traveled too. I know I did some traveling. When you travel, you get to learn a lot. And the last thing I think I would have done, so while in school, I had a principle before reading my textbooks, mechanical vibrations and the big control textbooks, thermodynamics. I used to use 30 minutes to read books that were not necessarily um, in line with engineering. So I read books from Chimamanda to Wale Soyinka to what's his name? I read a lot of those books, and I would have just read more books. It gives you a holistic perspective to life. Read business books about Israel and all. So I think that it will expand your horizon, and when your mind is stretched, there is almost no limit to your possibilities. Yeah, those are the things I would have done.
Wow. Thank you so much, sir. That is really amazing. I think if I can again pick out similarities, though I know that our panelists are not trying to tell us that having good grades is not important. I think majorly the thing is being able to have good grades and still build network, still be able to do things that you love to do. And just like Mr. Joel just said, join a football team. Right now, if all you are doing is reading, please go and join a football team. Take a swimming class, do something, enjoy yourself. And permit me to add, sir, Mr. Joel, am I permitted to say they can go for parties?
Yes, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
So please, let's feel free, enjoy yourself. Just go out, have fun with your friends. Sometimes these are the things that take off stress from our plates. It just helps us sometimes in the moment of relaxing, we get the best ideas. I think the person that invented something which I can't really remember now, but he said Eureka when he was he discovered light bulb. I think he was relaxing, he wasn't studying at that moment, and then the idea hit him. He got better understanding of everything. So sometimes in a relaxation, we can get clarity. So let's do well to do that. Thank you so much, our panelists so far. Thank you so much for your wealth of knowledge that you shared with us. So moving on, next question, we'd like to start with Mr. Jola Badering. Are there tools you would like to recommend to undergraduates and graduates that can help them get clarity and direction?
Tools. Thank you so much again. I would say that so I would think about clarity in two directions for life and for maybe I might be biased towards the engineering perspective. So first tool I would say is that just as my friend Abdullah said, you should. Sorry, I forgot my point. I'll remind you later. So first of all, one of the things I did was that I used to listen to TEDx a lot, and it broadened my horizon to know what I should expect in life, and so that was very instrumental. I listened to a lot of whatever my direction, wherever I think I want to better myself in. I just listen to. I go for conferences. Yeah, Abdullah mentioned about conferences. I remember them back in school, inaugural lectures. I went for inaugural lectures in almost all the departments, like where they come. Some of them had nothing to do with me, like went to architecture. I just loved the kind of thinking. It helped me shape my thoughts. And I remember there was one professor in architecture. Her name has slipped my mind, but she gave a talk on how you can eat your bread and still have it. The normal thing is eat your bread and you can't eat your bread and still have it. And that was very insightful. And I think it shaped my mind. I would say that one, you must really leverage on technology presently. I don't think anybody should not know how to probably code in some form, right? So I think even at the base knowledge, you must know a lot about technology. And I think that was one of the things that informed getting a postgraduate fellowship in technology and management. I wanted something different. So I went for 1 year. It was a scholarship actually by MasterCard. And I learned a lot about programming, data analytics, and a whole lot, and started something related to a startup. So what I would say is that the tools are dependent on you, right? Whatever you are looking at, pick up the tools in that direction. And one of the things I learned going through school, I remember there was one course, E203, I can't remember, first semester, part two, electrical course. And the way our professor taught us in school, I'm not sure I got anything from the class. I passed the course, but then there was no practical knowledge of it. And I felt that I needed more of this, and I went online. And before you knew it, I was so good at it. It was Tevnin, all those Norton, and as a mechanical engineer, I was able to even teach it. And apart from that, I learned softwares on my own, right? It's a digital world. In fact, I would argue that maybe we should start thinking of education in a different format where we are leveraging on technology. And so I learned softwares like ANSYS on my own, using edX. I learned a whole lot of other softwares, MATLAB on my own. So it depends on wherever you want to go. And I think I also have a friend on call who we both learned how to use Autodesk Inventor. And I can tell you, in fact, while in school, we're already making money off it. So what I would say is that it's dependent on you. Explore, shoot your shots. Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, sir. I think a major thing he was trying to tell us is to leverage on technology. It would be a mistake if at this time you do not know how to use an Android phone to do certain little things. I know a lot of people these days are making a lot of money, getting a lot of skills, doing a lot of things with their mobile phones, and then some are still only chatting with their phones. So please, let's leverage on technology positively. Let's not only spend time playing games and all of that. You can learn on your phone, you can take online courses, you can learn softwares, you can learn skills and all of that. And so please, Engineer Jibril, I'd like to hear from you, your take on this question as well. What tools would you recommend to undergraduates and graduates that can help them get clarity and direction?
Thank you very much. In terms of having a direction regarding what you want to do, we are in a digital age now, and we have a lot of resources at our disposal that can help with that. The first thing I would recommend would be similar to what Mr. Joel said, attending lectures. I'm not talking about your classroom lectures, but inaugural lectures, public lectures. And nowadays you have people who conduct online lectures or panels like this for practically nothing, for free. So, and most of them are online. It wouldn't hurt for you to just use your phone to log in and attend and see what people have to say. You can also look at videos online regarding career choices, and that could give you a better sense of what you want to do. But one major thing that I want to emphasize on is mentorship. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but it's actually very, very important. And I will give an experience. I would give a story based on my own experience on how mentorship helped me a lot. I studied computer engineering in the university for my bachelor's degree. And by the time I graduated from the university, I knew how to, I had skills in software development, practically desktop and web development. I also had skills in hardware electronic design. I was good at calculations and analysis and simulations. But when I left the university, even with those skills, I had no idea what I wanted to do. And it was by chance when I was applying for master's degrees that I applied for a course which was not in line with what I studied because there was a funding opportunity there. And one of my mentors who was supposed to fill a recommendation letter for me called me and he said, why are you applying for this course? Is this something you want to do? Are you passionate about this? And I told him no, but there was a funding opportunity and I thought, okay, I wanted to try my luck because as I said earlier, I just wanted to try anything and see what would click. And then he actually sat me down and explained to me different options that I had based on the knowledge I had. And from his explanation, I realized that going into control systems would give me an opportunity to put all of my skills together and use them in that area. And I later realized that control systems was something that I was passionate about, even without knowing. So having a mentor, a good mentor, really helps a lot, irrespective of the field you are in. You know, with the lectures you attend, you could know about current trends, current tools, maybe software tools or soft skills that you need to acquire that would help you. And then with guidance from your mentor, you could have a clearer direction of where your skills fit in and how you could contribute in that area. So I think that's my recommendation for our listeners. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Engineer Jubril. Permit me to say that you are not a broken record, sir. It's very important to um, hammer on something that you feel is essential. And I can also agree with you that mentorship is very, very important. The time that a lot of people have spent trying to figure out themselves, trying to find their way in life, if they had mentors, the journey would have been shorter and faster for them. So please let's take this from what Engineer Jubril has said, that mentorship is very important. Let's have Mr. Abdullah Oladipo also give his take on this question.
All right, so about getting clarity and direction of what you want to do. Honestly, I agree with almost everything that the first two panelists have said. One thing I would just like to add is that I believe not all of us are from engineering, right? So tech skills are very good. They're very, very good, but we should be very particular about soft skills too, right? So to be honest, I don't think higher percentage of people will not get clarity and direction after graduation with the current system that we have, Nigeria university system. A large percentage of people will most likely not get direction. So one thing I can advise everyone to do is to explore very well. So when you first graduate, I think you have like 1 year or so to yourself to don't be in too much haste. So no matter what your friends also have achieved. So if you are patient enough, you will most likely be able to achieve the same thing in time. So don't be in too much haste. Try and take enough of your time. I know most people go for NYC directly. So don't just spend like the 1 year just teaching students in some rural areas and just expending that time without converting it to something useful for yourself. So I think people should really explore. If you have 3 or 4 things in mind, it's no to try and explore those 4 things, and after a while you can actually know which one suits you more. Because from my own perspective, I did in part five before I finally settled down for software development. I've tried to learn Autodesk, right? So sorry, plastic design and 3D printing. I've tried networking, Cisco. I didn't do Cisco, I did IT essentials. After a couple of things, then after a while, I know, okay, I think this goes well with me. So I think people should explore enough. And speaking of soft skills, one thing again about clarity is if you to get clarity, you have to be very intentional about your success. So that's one thing that I know a lot of students are missing. So most of us we study either we have first class or we don't. We just school makes us or society makes us feel like you just graduate and there is one job also waiting for you out there once you just get first class. And I think it's far from truth. So I think people should be really intentional about their success. Don't procrastinate. Make sure you do what you need to do in time. So those soft skills are very, very crucial. That's some small thing I think I can add to that.
Thank you very much, sir. That's not small. That's huge. You could actually have saved someone out there listening to this um, event today. I think what I'll just bring out from that is that we should learn to explore. I think even Mr. Tola Alabi also said that at first, when he studied architecture, he thought that was what he was going to do. But after exploring it, he realized that he was more interested in graphics design. So it's also necessary to explore. Do the few things that you love to do, and then pick the one that you love to stay with or without money. Though money will come, but do well to pick the one that you're willing to do no matter the circumstance. So finally, let's have Mr. Tola Labi also give us from his wealth of knowledge on this question.
Yeah, I really like this question because every time I wake up, I think of how lucky I am to be alive in such a time, because it's such an incredible time to be alive, to be a person in this age. It's such an incredible time. If only you make use of what you have. And I think for me, it's very easy to say it's such an incredible time because I was born in 1980. So I can see the stark difference between me growing up and being a teenager to now. And I compare it to my kids, and I can see how much opportunities they have that would have been so incredible for me to have growing up. Like I have an 8-year-old daughter, and she knows how to animate. She was showing me something on the phone the other day. I said, "Oh, Daddy, see, I just did this animation," and she did like a 10-minute animation, and she has gone ahead to do others. She created characters, did voiceover, sound effects, edited, and put it on her YouTube channel that she handles herself. And I'm like, this is just incredible. When I was at age, the closest technology, the closest thing I did to technology was pressing a number on the remote control. To me, that was using technology. You understand? But now there's more audacity. You understand? And because there's so much knowledge you can get out there. My daughter had never gone for an animation course before. She's just in primary, she's just leaving primary three. She learned animation on the phone, on YouTube. She learned it. She was telling me about stop motion animation the other day. She learned it by herself at 8 on the phone, not going to any school. So you see, there's so much knowledge waiting to be harvested. There is more of a harvest than laborers right now, and I think I'll just focus on four major tools because they're asking what are the tools. But first of all, I would say online tools very important. Those online resources are incredible. Like Mr. Jubril said something, and I want to say you cannot overemphasize what you're saying, Mr. Jubril. So as much as you say, I think you're on point in terms of talking about mentoring. It's highly important, and people are not taking advantage of mentoring today. You see, Bill Gates can be your mentor right from wherever you are. You might be in Akure, you might be in Akwa Ibom. Bill Gates can be your mentor because you know what? There are so many resources of Bill Gates discussions, interviews, how he grew up, where he grew up. You just go to YouTube and you realize you get his life and every single interview he has done, and you can watch it and how he had. There's so many things you can get inside access to people's lives right now just by sitting in the convenience of your home. When I was growing up, if Bill Gates wanted to be my mentor, I had to go to where he was. I had to travel or subscribe for a magazine that will have one interview, and that magazine will not get to me for the next maybe 2 months before it reaches Nigeria. Do you understand? But now, at a click, I can watch his latest presentation on whatever, on malaria, on pandemics, on whatever, and I can learn from him. I can know about his married life. I can know about, like the other day, they were saying what Jeff Bezos does before he goes to work. This was stuff he didn't have access to just 20 years ago. We didn't have access to these things, but now we have access to these things. So YouTube, very, very powerful tool, very powerful. And I think people should just stay should try to access that content on YouTube as much as possible. I use it a lot to learn a lot. Then another thing is books. Books are very important. To be honest with you, I'm not big on reading physical books, but I consume a lot of books. Like this year, I've read about almost about 20 books. And that's because there's an app called Script. I tell people that I mentor to download this app. It's an incredible app, it has a lot of audio books. I've read so many books on Script, and all you just need to do is download the book and listen to it. While I'm driving to work, I'm listening to a book. Before I sleep, I'm listening to a book. Anything. When I'm cooking, I'm listening to a book. You understand? So you don't have to be sitting down and turning the pages anymore. Somebody is reading the book to you. You understand? So script is a very important thing. And there was something I think Abdul just said. He said something about soft skills. And that's why I'm recommending books. Because a lot of times we concentrate a lot on our hard skills, what our profession is. So I'm a lawyer. I should know about law things. I'm a doctor. I should know about medicine. I'm an engineer. I should know about engineering things. But then there are soft skills that we ignore. And these are things that set us apart from other people in our industry, just like communication. How do you communicate? You understand? Things like dressing. How do I dress? How does my dressing affect the way people perceive me? You understand? Just things that make you connect more. Those soft skills that we so easily ignore, that makes a difference between us and the next person that might be better than us with technical skills. So script is a good thing. There's also, I talk about something which a lot of us have in our houses, but we've ignored it because we have phones now. But TV is very important too. TV is very important. And I'll go back to when I was growing up. When I was growing up, TV used to open and close. You understand? TV opened by 4 o'clock and closed after the 9 o'clock news. And there was nothing else on TV, just color bars. Then you wait for 4 o'clock the next morning again. They will sing Nigerian anthem. Then you watch TV till after news, Nigerian anthem again, and everybody go and sleep. You understand? But now you have 24 hours to TV. Now, why TV? You might say, oh, I don't need TV, I have the phone. But the problem is TV, before content gets on TV, because it is paid airtime, it is scrutinized. So no known entity can just come on TV and say whatever because it's costing him money. Unlike with the internet, it's almost free. I can just go and just type anything and give some false information. It's harder for false information to get passed on TV. It's possible, but harder because you have to pay for it. You understand? So you watch TV a lot. Watch programs that you won't on a good day watch. Like I take time to watch cartoons with my children, and I learn so much from it. I've not grown out of watching cartoons. It's very important. I watch it so I can connect with a 9-year-old. I can talk with them. I can talk with any sphere of people, whether 9-year-old, 18-year-old, 40-year-old, 70-year-old, because I take in that content. I go for content that on a good day I wouldn't consume, but I'll consume it just out of interest. You understand? And I guess the fourth thing is what I feel is most important, which I wouldn't want people to bypass. But a lot of times in today's generation, we bypass it, and it's unfortunate. And I've talked about a lot of these other things: YouTube, script, TV. All these things give you knowledge. There's so much knowledge out there, but the problem is there's very little understanding. So you see a lot of people that are knowledgeable, but not very understanding of how to apply this knowledge and where to apply it and who to apply it to. And that's where I'll talk about faith-based tools. Faith-based tools are very important. I don't know what your faith is. I don't know, but everybody should have a faith. I totally believe that. If you don't have a faith, then it's very hard to get by in life because life is on two levels, on the physical level and the spiritual level. So you must have a faith-based tool that you connect with every single day. It might be your Bible, it might be your Quran, whatever, but you must have one. Because what faith does is that it helps you to apply all the plethora of knowledge that you have all around you and channel it the right way, with the right person, with the right voice, at the right time. You understand? So you must have a faith-based tool. If you have a preacher you are listening to every single day, very important, that keeps you in check. It helps you to be able to divide between what is good knowledge and what is useless knowledge, because there's a lot of knowledge out there. So I would say have those things, have online content, have books that you read, use TV content, TV and radio media. Those things are very important, something that people have to pay for before they get their stuff out there. And also have a faith-based tool that helps you to apply understanding to these things.
Thank you so much, sir. I think I've always felt out of place loving cartoons, but now I feel more comfortable. I can watch cartoons with ease now. Thank you very much, sir. So please let's take into account everything that has been said by Mr. Tola Alabi, and then we'll move on to the next question. What are some potentials or opportunities that you think Nigerian graduates and undergraduates are not exploring? Let's start with Mr. Tola Alabi. The opportunities that Nigerian undergraduates or graduates are not exploring.
Okay. Well, I would say one of the biggest opportunities that Nigerian undergraduates and graduates and people generally are not exploring is the opportunity to connect with people on a personal level. We're not exploring it enough. It's a dying art. Dying art. Being able to sit down with somebody for 1 hour. 1 hour is even too much now. That's like asking. That's like asking for somebody's arm. Sit down with someone for 10 minutes and talk without looking at your phone. You understand? That opportunity to connect with somebody on a personal level, we've lost it. That opportunity, we are losing it, and we are missing out of life by doing that. That opportunity to connect. There are a lot of online opportunities and stuff. Those are good, but the opportunity to connect with a human being without technology getting in the way is getting lost. So we are not. You see, we don't have value for human life anymore. You understand? Because life to us is a statistic. Is Life for us is a follower on Instagram. Life for us is a like on a post, but it's not a person. And so I was telling someone this. I was saying, you see, if any of you were to put up a post on Instagram or put up a post on YouTube, or a video on YouTube, and you got only one view, or you put up a post, you got only one like or only one comment, a lot of us will get discouraged and say, "Oh, that was a bad post. That was a bad video." With that, what we'll say, because that one person is not a person anymore. You understand? It's just a statistic, and it's a bad statistic. It's a low statistic. You understand? But when we think of that one person as a person that was conceived and was stayed 9 months in their mother's womb and came out and was weaned and has a life and has blood and has organs and has a brain, and that person could connect with your content and say, "You know what, I like," then we'll see it as a win rather than a loss. So the problem is that we as people, whether graduates or undergraduates, we are not connecting anymore. We are not connecting. You see, a lot of us are living in houses that we don't know our parents, and our parents don't know us. We don't know our siblings, and our siblings don't know us. You see, you will see a family go out and everybody is on their phone, and they say that's a family outing because they're not connecting. And a lot of times we realize that we fail to connect after somebody has passed on. And I'm like, man, I wish I spent more time with my dad. Oh, I wish I spent more time with my brother. I never got to know him. You understand? So we're not getting a lot of times to actually have conversations with people and talk with people and go out. You understand? That's just that going out. Very important. I think it was Joe that was talking about it. I really like Joe's answer to that. What would you do? What would you change? And he painted such a vivid picture of what he would do. And a lot of what he would do, what I liked about it, had to do with connecting with people and connecting with himself. So he said, "I'll travel, I'll go, I'll volunteer, I'll do this." You understand? That human connection that is lost right now. You understand? So I feel we should try more to build more human connection. I think at the end of every week, or beginning, not inside the end, at the beginning of every week, give yourself a target and say, "You know what, this week, every week, I'm going to meet 2 new people that I've never met before." So you see, you become more conscious of people when you do that. So when you're in a bus, you're just meet someone and say, "Hi, my name is Tola. I'm this, I do this. Who are you?" "Oh, my name is this, my name is this." "Oh, okay, good to meet you. I just thought to introduce myself." That's all. You understand? That's a good start. Of course, you meet some people who will be more, "Oh, why is this guy? Wow, why is this lady disturbing me?" But you know what? That's their loss, not your loss. That person must move on to the next person. But give yourself that quota. 2 people every single week, I will meet two people and ask their name and tell them what I do and ask what they do and ask about their passion or comment them or compliment them about their clothes, their whatever it is. Say, oh, that's a nice shoe you're wearing. I really like it. You understand that kind of thing? That human connection is not there anymore. And you see that we lose opportunities because that's the thing that makes us connect. And when you can connect with people, and in the long run, they remember and say, oh, I met this guy. He said he's a graphic designer. You know what? People say, I don't say, oh, you're a graphic designer. Okay, I'm trying to do this thing for my. Is this something you think you can do? Even if it doesn't work out on a business level, at least you've connected on a personal level. The chances are one day something will work out on a business level. I was reading a book one day and it said, look, every personal relationship always blossoms into a potential business relationship. It's up to you to take that business relationship or not. But every personal relationship always ends up benefiting you without you trying, business wise. You understand? But sometimes it takes up to 3 years of nurturing a personal relationship. But people are so impatient. They're like, if it's not buying, then why are we talking about go, Jerry? See, a lot of our music today puts it that way. If you're not talking money, then Baba, step. It's a very, very bad mentality. We've reduced people to nickels and dimes and figures. But people are people that we can connect with, that can affect our lives in positive ways. So I'll say one very important thing we need to learn to do is connect on a personal level without put technology aside and just connect with somebody on the physical.
Thank you so much for that, sir. I'm actually surprised that you know some slang, sir. You said Baba step. So thank you, sir. Means you are still fresh in the market, but you don't getting me with some slang, sir. Thank you very much, sir. So please let's hear from Mr. Abdullah Oladipo, your take on the same question. Your potential opportunities that you think Nigerian undergraduates and graduates are not exploring.
Yeah, so when Mr. Tola was talking, two things came to my mind. The first thing is actually to appreciate him on that point. Like it's like one of the most important things in life, right? So I don't want to add to what you said. I just want to like share my own experience about it. So when all of us go to university, one of those things, it's like we are let loose from prison. The way it seems to us, like, oh, finally I leave my parents' house. So many people don't want to come back again. Like they don't want to come back ever. They just want to like go forever. So even within semesters, some people don't want to go home. So and I was like that kind of person too till I graduated. So then I don't know, one thing happened after the other, maybe maturity or so. It just occurred to me like, what's the whole point? These people are getting old. We don't even know how long they are going to live. Like, what kind of regrets will you face later if you don't like end up having enough time? So one of the things I did was that I moved very close to home. Like right now, I even move closer. Like I see them almost every weekend now. And I don't know, I think my life has gotten way better. Most of the things that I think I could do myself, like I was alone I was okay on my alone. I just realized it becomes like times four, times five better than that, than just if I'm doing it on my own. So because you share from their experience, they've spent 40, 50 years. They've almost everything that you think of, maybe except technology, but almost every life issues that you are dealing with, they always have one suggestion or even one solution to it. So that connection, I think, it's very important. So, but what I was going to add myself is one thing that I think we are not exploring enough is branding. So, yesterday I think there was a discussion between me and my friend, and he was talking about shoemaking and stuff. So we are really not exploring branding. No matter what you do currently in this Nigeria, I think there is a very good possibility of making a lot of money out of it. So he cited an example of a shoemaking that is making shoes for like big people, politicians and stuff, and a shoe that normal people like me and you, or normal people like me, we buy for like 5K or for like 3K. People will buy it from him for like 30K, 50K, just because of his branding is different from other people. So you might think, oh, this guy is doing that already and that one is doing that already. There is almost nothing left for you to do. But if you actually can brand your own product well, there is a long way to go. So and not just physical product, even your skills at time. If you're a software developer, your branding matters a lot. So particularly when you start working with international companies, honestly, branding is like very, very big deal. So I think we should place a big emphasis on branding. And recently, I actually found Mr. Tola's YouTube channel, so you can actually check that out. He speaks a lot about branding and everything around that. So that's one point I just want to chip in.
Thank you so much, sir, for that. So basically, please let's foster interpersonal relationship. It's very important. People around us, it's so alarming that it's when people die you hear the good things about them. What happens when they're alive? Why did they never hear those compliments? Why did they never hear those accolades? So let's do well to relate with people and not have regrets when they are no longer around. Engineer Jubril, please would like to hear from you your take on this question as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Tola and Mr. Abdullah, for your insightful contributions, especially in the area of networking. It's very important. Through meeting people and networking, you can establish bonds that will last a lifetime and that could be very beneficial to you, mutually beneficial in the nearest or far future. From my part, what I would want to add is our Nigerian students, undergraduates, and people who just graduated. There is this thing that I think is prevalent among us, and that is a lot of us underestimate ourselves. We feel that because we studied in Nigeria, we cannot compete with people from other countries. And that is not true. The level of education we receive in Nigeria, even though it has its own challenges, but more or less we actually have a lot to offer and we can compete with people all around the world. When I was doing my master's in the UK, there were four of us who were Nigerians in our class. And whenever a task was given or an assignment or a presentation or the final result came out, the four of us consistently came out on top for the entirety of that program, which lasted for a year. So a way that we could boost our self-esteem is by exploring opportunities, especially those online. There are a lot of opportunities, such as scholarship opportunities, essay writing opportunities, a lot of them, entrepreneurship opportunities, maybe for startups and the rest. It doesn't just have to be academics. And you wouldn't know how good you are until you apply. So I would recommend that always try to apply for anything you feel interests you when you see an advert for that. You could be invited for an interview and you could be successful. In some cases, you might not be successful, but that should not deter you. And at FUT Mina, the head of my department posts opportunities from time to time regarding various aspects such as scholarships, uh, um, startup businesses, essay writing competitions, opportunities for women. I would post a link to the Facebook group on the chat box so that you can check it out. When you see something interesting, you can apply. And one good thing about applying for these things is you would see areas which you are lacking, especially if it's an area that you are interested in. And you can use the tools at your disposal to build up in that area and continue improving yourself until you become successful. As we know, learning never ends, it's a continuous process. So check out the Facebook group and you would see a lot of opportunities that have been posted and that will continue to be posted. And try to build yourself, apply to as much as you can, and see how you can compete with people around the world. That would improve your knowledge, increase your skills, and give you more self-esteem. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Jibril. Really appreciate that. Also, thank you for the social media handle you dropped in the chat box. And please, let's not forget, we're already dropping our social media handles as well in the chat box. Let's do all to connect so that we can get more information about future organized events like this. And then finally, let's hear from Mr. Joel Aboderi on his own take
Thank,
on this question.
thank you so much. At this point, I just want to thank Ignite Research because I've learned a lot, and a lot of what Mr. Tola and Mr. Jibril was saying really resonated with me. And first of all, I want to even thank Mr. Tola for talking about human connections. You never know how great that could be, just speaking with somebody. And I'd want to recommend that probably you could start by just thinking about your friends who you've not talked to before. Just call them, like you've had time, a long time, like you have not discussed with them. You can just call them, and it's easier now. Well, I don't know. You still might use technology in terms of maybe like a Google Meet and just see yourself. Okay, so for me, I would say that the first thing I would say is that you should probably consider learning a different language. So I speak English, I speak Yoruba, and I speak French. And it's very interesting because while I finished my schooling in Obafemi Awolowo University, I decided to travel to Republic of Benin, where I stayed for close to 3 months. And I just went there to learn French. And it was fascinating seeing expressions on people's faces when I say, I just came here to learn French. And I enrolled in one of their universities, an exchange program, and I learned French. And one of the first job I did at Gill Automations, one of the leading firms in automation in Nigeria, you wouldn't imagine that one of the questions that he asked me was somebody said, "Oh, you speak French," and it became a language interview, and I was chosen. So I think you should learn a different language. And presently, I'm trying to learn the Hungarian language. So that's one part. The second thing I would say is that opportunities abound, just as Mr. Jibril has said and Abdullah mentioned. I think that we are not, we should seek for knowledge in this part, follow Andrews, learn about opportunities. And Mr. Jibril said something very, very important. The fact that perfection is not the goal. Shoot your shot. You never know which is going to go in. And it makes me reflect on my own story. I'd applied for since 2018. In fact, my first application was in 2017 when I started the application. I've applied for close to 30 applications. And that was just in the academia. If I was to consider the ones I've applied in AU, applied in a whole lot, it would be more than 30. And I received 30 rejections. Even after getting a scholarship, there was another scholarship I didn't know that I had applied for. I'd even forgotten, and I got a rejection again, and I was laughing at them. Do you understand? So I think that we should not be scared of failures. We should not seek towards perfection. And Mr. Jibril mentioned that it's a process, it's a journey. So you are being made in the process. So while I was applying, immediately I was taking courses on how to write. You'd be surprised on how important writing is, how important is effectively communicating what you want through a paper. They're not going to see you apart from your CV and everything. They say maybe write a letter of interest, write a motivation letter or something. How you can effectively write that, it's a skill, and you can learn it. It's not, there's a whole lot of things you can public speaking, how to talk about yourself, how to express what you want, especially in a society like ours where it's quite permissive. So people don't really say what they want, right? They don't exactly say, okay, this is what I want, or maybe they go through the corners. While, for example, you're applying in a society where whatever you want, there's no time. Whatever you want to say it fast. Let me hear it. So learning using tools like Grammarly, Quillbots, and things like that, I got to know them immediately. I started showing interest in applications. Why was I rejected? And some applications, I was telling my friend, there's some applications I just shot in, not because I wanted to go in. I just shot in because I wanted to see how good my writing was. And I got in and I had to tell them, no, I'm not coming because I wasn't interested. I just wanted to see, okay, these people. Okay, so one of my applications that I applied for Commonwealth Scholarship, and one of my friends that we applied together is also here. He didn't get in, and I was wondering, the application was very solid. And I had to rebrand it, and that was the application that MasterCard Scholarship, University of Edinburgh, shortlisted me for. So I just feel that you just need to keep shooting your shot. And there was another application, and I keep reviewing yourself in terms of mistakes. Where did this mistake happen? What happened? Why was it rejected? Ask questions, critical thinking. It was after about 2 years of one scholarship that I applied, I went through my the things I wrote, and I checked back one reference I made, I don't know if they caught that, but when I checked the reference, I discovered that at the time I was applying for that with that reference, the things had really changed so fast. You know, the political sphere in Nigeria and things had already changed. And so if um, the application board was really very serious about that, that could have just been what made them not to choose me. So question the process, essay writing. Mr. Bala mentioned about essay writing. Yes, there was even one that I did 3 months ago. They've not gotten back to me. I just write. I just want to write. I want to see how I'm able to convey my message in the best possible way. So just to summarize, learn a language, opportunities abound. The process will make you and shoot your shot. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. I think the little house I've been able to learn is Baraka, Darana, Sunana, Omotayo. So basically, I'm on the right path. I'm still learning. At least I know my name is Omotayo in Hausa. So, sorry, we are together. Thank you very much for that, sir. I think another thing I can pick out from what Engineer Jibril and Mr. Joel said is that we should try out for opportunities. Let's learn things. Let's go out there, apply. Don't just sit down and expect that opportunities will come and meet you. You might not get it on the first try, but don't be discouraged. And basically, you would get it eventually. It might not be what you started out looking for, but eventually you're going to get something good out of it. So before we go on, let's just take some questions that we have in the chat box. We have one question here that says, I'm curious about the current nature of the tech space in Nigeria in terms of what one can do to have a competitive edge after graduation. Also, what it's like funding and securing a tech job in Nigeria. So please would like Mr. Tola Alabi to answer this question.
Please, can you go over that question again?
Yes, I am curious about the current nature of tech space in Nigeria in terms of what one can do to have a competitive edge after graduation. Also, what is it like finding and securing a tech job in Nigeria?
Okay, well, I think that question is better suited to someone that's more tech, more in the tech space, because he says he's curious about what the tech space is like in Nigeria. Um, well, for as much as I know, I feel the tech space in Nigeria is uh, is a thriving ground. You understand? Um, if you are looking for how to get into the tech space in Nigeria, I would say it's a great opportunity to get in, because the truth is there are a lot of problems in Nigeria that are waiting to be solved with technology, that have been solved in other parts of the world but are not solved in Nigeria yet. You understand? And that's how you can get tech companies um, like Paystack, you understand, or Flutterwave. You see, these guys have been able to do it big in Nigeria because Nigeria was just a right ground, you understand, for their kind of service here. And it had been ripe in the US for decades before it became like that here. But I just feel if you want to do well in tech, whether in Nigeria or anywhere, you must study where you are and try to understand what the problems are and try to solve those problems, even in a small way using tech. And it might be in a way whereby you see what they're doing abroad and just see how, if that were done in Nigeria, what would I need to tweak? What would I need to tweak here in Nigeria that would help Nigerians interact better with this technology? So I feel if you have, and the truth is that there's hardly any idea right now that is not a tech idea or leveraging on tech. Like with my wife right now, she's a doctor, and she has been working as a medical doctor for a while, and then she realized that, oh, she wants to reach out to more people, and now she now says, okay, she wants to start doing telemedicine and thereby have a platform whereby women can contact her, especially new mothers, and they can tell her what problems they have, whether it's with breastfeeding or weaning or feeding or stuff like that. And she's like, not everybody has time to go to the hospital. In fact, when you go to the hospital, you meet a line. And when you meet a line, it means that it's going to take a major part of your day. And we have a lot of women that are professional women right now. They don't want to go to the hospital. So, and sometimes their problem is not something that they need to go into the hospital for. It's just a matter of, oh, my child has a cold. What can I do? Or has a rash. What can I do? You understand? And this is something that that can be answered in 2 to 5 minutes by a doctor, but they'll have to wait for like 2 hours in the hospital. So she decided, okay, she wants to start something using technology. It might be starting with WhatsApp or stuff like that, which will allow her gather women that can ask her questions directly. That's a tech idea. You understand? Because she's leveraging on technology to help solve the unique problem in Nigeria when it comes to healthcare. So I think if you want to have that unique advantage, then you need to be more observant and observe the space. I think that's the thing. Who talked about branding? Abdul talked about branding. I like what he said about branding. He said a lot of people don't brand, and what branding is people taking the time to understand how people think and how to solve their problems. You understand? So people just take ideas from the US or from the UK or from China and try to implement it here by force, not having the cognizance of what the cultural issues here are or what the political issues here are, and then it doesn't work here. You understand? And that was almost a problem that a company like Uber was having, has in Nigeria, not even was, are still having, where they were so rigid with their exams, so rigid with their app, so rigid with how they were testing their drivers, that Bolt came and they were willing to say, okay, how do people think in Nigeria? Can we give them the same exams we are giving people in the US? Are the roads the same? Are the customers the same? And they had to say, you know what? We cannot work the same way we work in the UK and Nigeria. So they had to create an environment that was ripe, and that's why they are taking out Uber anyhow. So if you want to work in technology space, understand Nigerians better. As a matter of fact, understand your state better, wherever state you're in. And I even go to say, you know what, forget about your state, understand your city better. You know what, understand your local government better, understand your street better, and start from solving the problem there with technology, and you see how it will grow to other places. So that would be my advice with the little knowledge I have about starting a tech company.
Thank you so much, sir. I think if you can relate this with what Engineer Jibril said earlier, is that we should love our country. We should begin to cherish it. Look at things that we can do better in our country, how to make the country better for one another, not just think of running away to other countries. Thank you very much for that, sir. We would also like to hear from Mr. Abdullah, your own take on this, since you are more into the tech.
Hmm. So I think there is one part of the question which is how can sorry, can you go over the question again? I'm trying to find it.
Okay, so you said, I'm curious about the current nature of tech space in Nigeria in terms of what one can do to have a competitive edge after graduation. Also, what is it like finding and securing a tech job in Nigeria?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so you mentioned Mr. Tola has already talked about the how tech space is like in Nigeria right now. So if you want to have an edge, honestly, I think you should start from now, irrespective of the level that you are. So whether you're an undergraduate already or you are in a particular level or you have graduated. So if you have interest in tech, the best time to start is now. You shouldn't delay it anymore. So because with time, even though there are a lot of opportunities that are coming out of tech, it gets flooded with people too. So and it's always good if you're one of the early bets. So it's not flooded right now, even though it seems it's flooded. So if you can start now, it's very good, irrespective of the path that you go. So you can check out career paths in tech. So you can decide to code, you can do non-coding stuff and a lot of things. There are a lot of resources that you can always find on the internet. So, but just that you should start now. That's like the most important advice I would give.
Thank you very much, sir. So please let's do well to start now, whatever it is that we have in mind to do. And so we have another question here, and this will be going to Engineer Jibril. Please, what are the lucrative courses one can study after studying mechatronics in a bachelor's degree in a tertiary institution?
Thank you. Well, can you take the question again, please?
Okay, sir. It says, what are the lucrative courses one can study after studying in mechatronics as a bachelor degree course?
Okay, thank you very much. Well, someone who studies mechatronics in the bachelor's degree actually has a lot of options because mechatronics, by its nature, is multidisciplinary. So you have the opportunity to go into different areas. Now, while I support people going into different areas, widen and explore your horizons, you have to be mindful of the kind of society we are in. For those of us in the academic community, particularly in Nigeria, if you have a difference between your first degree and postgraduate degree and so on, it gives you issues during employment, issues like promotion. For instance, if you study engineering, let's say computer engineering as a first degree, then you study computer science for your master's. If you have the intention of going into academics, maybe to lecture or so, it will give you difficulty during progression. Promotion will give you issues because you have a first degree in engineering, a second degree in science. And I know for us in Nigeria, that could be a little bit short-sighted, but it's just the nature of the sector we are in currently in the country. So you should also be mindful of the society and environment you're in before you make decisions. But that being said, for mechatronics engineering, when you're talking about courses, I don't know whether he's referring to academic or skills acquisition, so I'll try and cut across all. For academic, you could go into other engineering disciplines related to mechatronics, such as electrical engineering, computer engineering, telecommunications engineering, and control engineering. They are all related to mechatronics, and you can do any of those for postgraduate studies. You can also do mechatronics engineering in postgraduate studies. However, in Nigeria, progressing in mechatronics engineering for postgraduate studies or control is quite limited. You have a lot of courses, master's PhD in electrical engineering and computer engineering with the options of control and mechatronics. So you only have a handful, if any, of universities that do mechatronics as further degrees. In terms of courses for skills acquisition, you could look into hardware and electronics design, computer programming. The computer programming, you can cut across many areas. You can focus on web development, web design, desktop app, mobile app, and embedded systems. But one area that is quite popular these days is IoT, Internet of Things, where you control systems remotely from an application on your phone or on your computer. So you could also look into that as well. How you can do that by applying for the opportunities we talked about earlier. You can look into scholarships, especially for universities abroad, because they have well-equipped laboratories, especially in Europe, Asia, and the United States. So you could look into scholarship opportunities and try to apply. When you go there, you would have a better understanding of what you do in the classrooms here. Mr. Joel was talking about the Commonwealth Scholarship earlier, his experience, and it made me laugh a little because I also had, well, let me not say bad experience, but an interesting experience with the Commonwealth Scholarship. I think in 2017, I applied for it and we went for an interview. I traveled from where I was to Abuja. And I was there since in the morning. I didn't go in for my interview until around 10 p.m. and I still was not successful. So you're going to have experiences like that when applying for opportunities, a lot of rejections, but that should not deter you. So you should look into foreign universities because they have more streamlined courses for mechatronics. You could have a master's degree in mechatronics, robotics, or even artificial intelligence. You can look at the course module and description to have a better understanding of what the courses offer. So I think that's what I have regarding courses you could do, lucrative courses as having a first degree in mechatronics engineering. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your sharing with us. And so some have been asking how they can reach out to the panelists to be their mentors, just to connect with them. So I would like to just request from our panelists to please share their major social media platforms so that people can reach out to them. Thank you very much for that in anticipation. And so we have just one question left before we take more questions from the participants. So but I would like to make this a bit competitive because this question is going to require the panelists to sell themselves to us. So I'm going to do it this way. After I ask the question, we would call in the order that our panelists will give us their response to that. And then from the chat board, I want every one of us to respond to who you think you would want to follow based on what they have said. So I think we could try that. So I'll ask the question now. What advice would you give to anyone that aspires to join your field? So majorly, by the time our panelists tell us what the advice they'll give to anyone, I want the participants to give us feedback based on their responses, not based on your previous mindset. Who do you think you want to join their field based on what they have just told you now? And I hope our entrepreneur does not win this because they are very good marketers. So please, let's start with Mr. Joel Abodering. What advice would you give? So basically, you are selling your field to us, sir, and then we'll see who wins in selling their field.
Okay, if I get it straight, I should just talk about what I'm doing presently. Or
Yes, sir. The advice you give to anyone, probably someone that is clueless about what the person wants to do, and then you want to inspire them, draw them, help them see what you're seeing in your field, and make them join your field. So, what would you tell them?
well, okay. All right, so let me just go. So I'm in academia, I'm in research, and one of the things I believe about research is the independence, the autonomous nature, where you can think for yourself. You can also have opportunities of traveling in so many countries to do your research as you want. So I believe that if you are interested in research, especially probably in engineering, for example, right now I'm in Budapest. I'll be traveling to France in February, and then I'll be traveling back to Budapest. And by my last semester, I'll probably be doing it in Italy, where I'll be going to different state-of-the-art equipment to work. So for me, I think that what the researchers do is that they look at the future and not just solve problems of present problems, but they think about how they can connect present problem with past problems and in the future. And looking at the advent of COVID-19, one, we saw how the researchers, especially in the biospace, were being haunted and looked out for because something as little as a virus could just end the whole of humanity. So what I would say is that if you don't know what to do, come to research. We'll teach you what to do. I don't know if I'm making sense, but then that's it from me.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you, sir. So please, our participants, just hold on. Don't make a rash decision because we are going to be announcing the winner to this. I don't know why I even said that this was a competition. I should have allowed them to pitch in and then we'll now tell them that it's a competition. But anyways, let's continue. So let's have Engineer Jibril sell his field to us.
Okay, let me. I'm a lecturer, so I'm not into branding like Mr. Tola. So forgive me if I don't do well. Okay, I'm an academic staff in Federal University of Technology, Mina, and I'm in the Department of Mechatronics Engineering. So what we do mainly is we try to connect electronic systems to mechanical parts. In the layman's term, mostly what we do is robotics design. We design robots for various purposes, for the agricultural sector, for the industrial sector, like petroleum. We also design systems for the educational sector as well. Recently, we started working on an autonomous vehicle, a self-driving car. So that could interest some of our readers. And we've worked on a lot of robotic devices, artificial intelligence, Internet of Things, and embedded systems. One interesting thing about going into mechatronics is you can work practically in any field, because there are a lot of people who want to employ. I think it was Mr. Tola who said that there are a lot of problems in Nigeria that can be solved using tech. So for those of us in mechatronics engineering, that's what we look at, solving those problems using mechatronics engineering. So we've developed a lot of solutions for different areas, a wide range of areas. So as someone in mechatronics engineering, you can practically work anywhere and you can incorporate your knowledge into any aspect or and any sector. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. You see how that was a very academic pitch. So let's go on to Mr. Abdullah Oladipo. Let's hear from you, sir.
Hmm. Okay, so if you want, my field is software engineering, so to say. So I'm not sure I can pitch my field to you, but if you want to join, I can tell you some of the things that can be useful. So I think it boils down to around 4 to 5 things, right? That is very crucial if you want to become a successful software developer. So those are like the things I follow too because I want to become a successful one. So and I think one of them is first to learn how to learn yourself, if that makes sense. Learn how to learn yourself. So if you want to become a software developer, more often than not, you will not see someone that will tell you this is what you should do or that is what you should do. Or someone that will sit you down in a class and start teaching you JavaScript or Python or all of those things. So more often than not, you need to like go on YouTube, go on Udemy, go on all of those learning platforms, buy courses, attend free classes and stuff for you to gather your knowledge yourself. So you really need that before you get a job and after you get a job and even if you are setting up your own company. So that's like the number one I think is very important. And that thing that I think is very useful before you can, because the whole purpose, the whole essence of doing these things, number one, you want to impact, of course, then number two, particularly for yourself, you want to either get a job or start your own company. So I think you need to like network a lot. So I keep mentioning that because I've seen like real life impact on that, of that on my own self. So you need to like connect with people. As much as people say there are a lot of opportunities in software, if you want to start your company, that might be true. But if you want to get a job, it might be a bit hard if what you just have is the skills and you don't have your network is not strong. So you need to grow your network, like really, really invest in growing your network. Be open. If you were the kind of person like me that was not used to like chatting with people and co, you need to like develop that. Start showing interest in people, start asking them what they do, particularly people on your field. So how you can work together and all of that. So that's the second thing that I want to add. Then the third thing is actually the third and fourth thing, I'll just combine them together, is to pay attention to details and to be able to find solutions when you face a problem. So I'll give a simple instance that can help you to that can give a lot of sense to that. So the company I currently work, we have two interns, right? So both of them, one has left. The other one that I know very well is a Chinese. So he did software engineering in his BSc, and he did he's doing computer engineering in his masters in California State University. So, but the funniest thing is, this guy, when I joined the company, these guys were already in the company. But when I joined after like 2 weeks or 3 weeks, they attached two of these guys to be doing intern under me. Right. I don't have a CS degree. I did electronic and electrical engineering. I've not done masters. So I've only like do a lot of learning myself. So why is that so? At the end of the day, what I notice is that when these guys write code, I have to review their code and stuff. I realize these guys are actually far better than me in terms of knowledge. That they've acquired a lot of knowledge. But one thing that I think gives me upper hand over them is that I pay a lot of attention to details, probably because I've had work experience before. So I'm like in real life, they are students, right? So I pay a lot of attention to details. If there is a problem, I don't just keep asking my supervisor. How do we solve this? So I'm stuck here, I'm stuck there. I basically just get a task, go back to my room or wherever you are working from at night, afternoon, find solution myself, Google, Stack Overflow, YouTube, and I just come back with solutions. Unlike them, they might have like 5, 6 questions before they can solve one simple task just because they don't understand it. So because in the field of software, you imagine you are hired to come and work with LinkedIn. The company I work with is something like LinkedIn. So imagine you're hired to come and work with LinkedIn. They have like a very large code base already that you are not the one that built it. You don't know what's going on there. So if you are given a task, you need to like settle down, try and connect the dot to actually see where the issue is coming from. So you need to pay a lot of attention to details and you should be able to find solutions yourself. So you have to be like very independent if you want to be a successful software developer. Not like you not seek assistance from a lot of people, but first thing you should be able to find solution yourself. So I will just go over those 4 points again. Learn to learn yourself, learn to be able to develop yourself independent of anyone. So learn to grow your network in that field, learn to find solution when you have problem yourself, learn to Google, Stack Overflow, YouTube, and all of that, and pay attention to details. So those are the 4 things I can advise on.
Thank you very much, sir. We are far overshot our time limits. So lastly, let's just hear from Mr. Tola Labi. What you would like to say to anyone that wants to join your field, sir.
Okay, so I think my field is basically branding, and I would say my industry is people, understanding people, understanding why people do things in particular ways, and why one company does better than the other. Um, I I ask a lot of questions. So if you want to go into branding, you have to be a very inquisitive person. You cannot be a judgmental person. You have to be someone that always stands. If you're going to be a good brand person, you're the kind of person that if they ask you how many sides does the coin have, you can't say two because the coin has 3 sides. There's the bottom and the top, heads and tail, and there's the edge. So you must always be able to stand on the edge of the coin and be able to see things from one side and the other side. And that's what I do a lot, which is the mistake a lot of business people make. They kind of look at things only from their perspective, but you need to be able to look at things from the client's perspective, from the customer's perspective. So that's what I do. I try to look at things from the customer's perspective, and I tell businesses what the problem their customers are having with relating with their business, or the things that the customers like about their business that they should emphasize on. So branding is about getting people to enjoy doing what they do. You understand? The aim for me is to get people to do the jobs they love and get paid well doing the job they love. So it's a lot about communication and understanding the psychology of people and helping people make a profit at the end of the day from doing the jobs they love. So I get to ask people some questions which a lot of times might be uncomfortable for a lot of people, but they get to ask themselves these questions and that brings a lot of clarity to them. So I get to ask people, why are you doing what you're doing? If you were going to die tomorrow, would you still think would you still go to work doing what you're doing? If you won $1 billion, will you still do this business you're doing or will you do something else? You try to get into why people do what they're doing, who they are doing it for, where they see themselves. So you get to ask people about their future dreams. Where do you want to be in 5 years' time? Where do you want to be in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time? And then you get to see people dream. I guess that's one of the things I like about what I do. People get to dream, you understand? You get to talk to people and you see them dream. And you see somebody that was so guarded become a child just because they're able to dream. So I feel for me that's the biggest law of being into branding. You work in different industries. Like I know so much about so many industries just from working with people. I've worked in people that wanted to start hotels, people that wanted to start schools, people that wanted to start fashion brands, people that wanted to start a TV station, people that wanted to different. I've worked in so many different fields that I've learned so much on so many different subject matters. So if you enjoy communicating, you enjoy talking with people, you enjoy connecting with people, then branding is a good thing to do. And you like observing people from a point of view that is not judgmental, but is objective, yeah, and is open to asking why people do this and learning, then I think branding is a good thing for you to want to consider.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate that. Thank you, sir. So, while we compile the winner of this competition, please, our participants, you can start dropping whose field you would love to go into. So, quickly, we'll now have the research lead, Ibrahim, tell us more about Ignite Research Academy. As he does that, please, we can just drop our responses about the pitch that our panelists just gave us. You have the floor, Ibrahim. Please give us tell us about Ignite Research Academy.
All right. Hello, everyone. So I'm Ibrahim, and I'm the co-founder and I'm research lead for Ignite Research Academy. So I'm just going to do a quick intro on Ignite Research Academy. So Ignite Research Academy is an educational startup that aspires to be a world-class academy that is reputable for high-quality research and capacity development. So the vision of the academy is to build a network of African researchers, that are competent and technological aware, and we aim to do this through research and capacity building. And our aim is also to, in connection with the SDGs, so we aim to achieve some of the targets of SDGs 8 and SDGs 9. So just a quick intro about SDG 9. SDG 9 is about industry, innovation, and infrastructure. And one of the targets of SDG 9 that IRA is focusing on is to enhance research and upgrade industrial technologies. So SDG 9 has a lot of targets, but this is our major interest in SDG 9. So to enhance research and upgrade industrial technologies. So, a key indicator for these targets is the number of researchers in full-time equivalent per million inhabitants. So that means IRA aims at increasing the number of researchers per million in Africa. So about SDG 8, SDG 8 is about decent work on economic growth. And for this particular SDG, IRA is concentrating on the promote youth employment, education, and training targets. And for this SDG as well, the indicator is the proportion of youths between the ages of 15 to 24 that are not in education, employment, or training. So what IRA aims to do with this particular SDG is to reduce the number of African youths that fall within this category of people. That is the number of African youths that are not in education, employment, or training. So to connect with us, you can either connect with us through via email, Instagram, YouTube, LinkedIn, and any one of the platforms that's comfortable with you. So we are open to having great conversations and sharing great ideas with everyone and anyone. So thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Ibrahim. So please, we're not receiving our feedback about who has won. We have one for each of the panelists. So basically, no one has won this. But before we finally conclude on the winner, let's have the vote of thanks from the human resource lead, Ms. Hadiza Umar Yusuf.
Okay, thank you very much, Moderator Ma. You have done a wonderful job since. My name is Hadiza Umar Yusuf. I'm the Human Research Lead to Ignite Research Academy. And on behalf of the entire team of Ignite Research Academy, I say a very big thank you to our esteemed panelists who, out of their tight schedule, have taken out time to share with us from their experiences. This has impacted us a lot, and I believe this will go a long way to bring up leaders from leaders in Nigeria. And to everyone present, thank you for being a part of this. This event wouldn't have been successful without each and every one of you. No matter how good this event is, it would no, it's not good without you. Thanks once again, and we hope to see you in our next event. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for that vote of thanks. I would like to announce the winner. So we'll have the drum roll and then the short suspense. I'm actually amazed at the person that has supposedly won this. And it's the Academia Engineer Jibril. I'm shocked. I did not expect that an academia would win this very short pitch. But anyways, I guess we have a lot of people here that would love to further in the academic section. So Engineer Jibril, thank you so much for that. You have convinced us to continue in the academic line. Thank you so much, sir. So
Thank you very much.
yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today. Really appreciate your patience. Please do well to fill the feedback form that has been dropped in the chat box. Do well to follow our social media handles. Trust me, the next one that we have coming for you is going to be bigger and better. Thank you all so much. Have a lovely day.
Thank you very much.